Hey everybody, so it's been a long time since I've recorded a video. I have all the best of intentions, and honestly, I don't know. I guess I could sit here and say that I make a lot of excuses, but I mean, the reality of it is I don't have a ton of time to do this, so this is my office, and I thought that I could just turn on my webcam and sit here and talk to you guys about the things that I wanted to talk to you about, because there's a lot of big changes happening in my life, and I kind of want to address those. I want to take this channel in a little bit of a different direction, and my hope really is to revive it. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is in a way that's sustainable for me, because I don't have hours on end to sit here and record videos and try to make the editing, something that I'm honestly not capable of right now at this point in time. So, I mean, it is what it is. You can let me know what you think. So I guess, where do I start? I don't really know. There is a lot that's been going on over the past 2 years in everybody's life, obviously. And I think probably the best place for me to start is just to say that this will probably be a video that's going to be broken up into several sections, because I don't want it to be too long. So a little bit of a backstory. Some of you guys have been here for years. Some of you are finding this and you're brand new. My name is Amber. If you're new to the channel, I have 4 children between the ages of 5 and 14. I'm a registered nurse, but I have not worked in that capacity since 2007. And I am now a full-time freelance health and wellness copywriter. And it's amazing to me to see how God has worked in my life since I became a mom. I guess maybe I should start the story there. So I always knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And even before I went to nursing school, I knew that. And so my professional nursing career, and by that I mean me actually working with patients in a hospital, only lasted for 5 years. But the knowledge that I have gained still impacts me to this day. So I worked in pediatric oncology at the UNC Children's Hospital in Chapel Hill. I was also a travel nurse for a short period of time. I did that for 6 months. I did that because I knew that if I did not do that, then I would regret it. I would end up getting married and having kids and wondering what that would have been like. And I didn't want to do that. So I tried it out, realized I hated it, and I moved on with my life. After that, I became a labor and delivery nurse because during the period of time that I was a travel nurse, I also did peds oncology then in Cincinnati. And during that period of time, a little girl that I had taken care of in Chapel Hill, and I had grown very close to her and her family, she passed away of leukemia at the age of 6. And I always said that if anything ever happened to her, then I was going to get out of pediatric oncology and I was going to move on to something that is happier most of the time. And true to my word, I did that. So she passed away in July of 2004, and I ended up finishing out my contract in December of that year, moved back home to North Carolina, and became a labor and delivery nurse. And that is during the time period that I met my husband. We got married in 2006, had our first baby in 2007, and my career as a stay-at-home mom started then. So I always knew that I wanted to do something to contribute to my family, and our finances. I obviously contribute to the family as a mom, but I wanted to do something to help the budget. And I'm also, I think I have the personality that I really like to be challenged. I like the idea of seeing what I could do to bring in money for the family. And so I had a friend a long time ago tell me, you should try freelance writing. And I always saw myself as a terrible writer. I never thought that that's something that I could do. But the longer that I thought about it and trying other things like network marketing and whatnot, and none of that worked out, I finally decided I would give it a try. So in 2008 or 2009, I started freelance writing. I was doing content writing for a site that back then was called Demand Studios. So I would get paid anywhere between $15 and $30 for an article that would take me anywhere from 1 to 2 hours to write. So it wasn't bad. I learned a lot. I worked with editors. I learned everything I feel like that I did not learn in middle school and high school. Keep in mind that I was a nurse. I went to a 2-year college, so I have an associate's degree in nursing. So I did not have to take English classes in college. That's, not a big deal when you're becoming a nurse. So I felt like that I had missed out, not really missed out, but I probably didn't pay attention as close as I should have in English in high school. So that's why I never thought that I could be a writer. But, I tried. I thought, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to teach myself how to do this. And so I started doing that, and I plugged away. And so when I started, I had 1 child. And so from 2007 to 2017, I had 4 babies. And so I spent a lot of time either pregnant or breastfeeding and not sleeping. Typically the 12 to 14 months after having a baby, I did not really even try because I was pretty much a walking zombie during that time, solely focused on taking care of my kids. Once they hit about the 12 to 14 month age range, I started feeling a little more independent, and I would try to do a little more at that point. So, I worked on it. I continuously worked on it over the years, and got a little better, found different websites to write for, did different things. For a while, I had a blog that never did very much, but I never really tried, to be honest. And so fast forward all the way up until the fall of 2019. At that point, I thought, okay, my kids are old enough that I can pour a little more time in this. So I started listening to podcasts and reading articles and listening to Audible books like The 4-Hour Workweek and things like this. And I thought, I can do something to take this to the next level. I have more time to do this now. And at that point, I had been working as a freelance grant writer for a local nonprofit for about 4 or 5 years. And I thought that's what I would do. I thought that I could be a freelance grant writer for other people. And so I started pouring my time and attention into that. And then in January of 2020, I was contacted about the first week of January that year by an online supplement company who needed somebody to be their head of research. They wanted somebody who had a medical background. Specifically, they were looking for a nurse who could really provide that level of empathy and, the understanding of the human body and these sorts of things. And it was weird because it wasn't what I was looking for. This person reached out to me on Upwork and presented me with this opportunity. And the pay was twice what I had ever made as a nurse. My best paying job as a nurse was when I was a travel nurse back in 2004. And this paid twice what that job did. And it was something where I could be at home. But the catch of it was they needed somebody to work 30 to 40 hours a week. And keep in mind that I had not worked that much in a really long time, and I had 4 kids at home. So I talked to my husband, didn't know how that was going to work, but prayed about it and felt good about it, and I took that position. I ended up working in that position for 18 months, working 30 to 40 hours a week. They gave me a reasonably sized stipend to buy myself a new laptop. That's how I ended up with the MacBook Pro that I have now. I had to add quite a bit of money to that in order to get it, but and I also got 2 weeks of paid vacation both years. So it was also in that position that I was trained to be a copywriter. I had no idea what copywriting was before that, but and if you're not familiar, copywriting is basically just persuasive writing. It is a way of writing that gets people to take action, whether that is to open an email, to buy a product, to sign up for a newsletter. All of that is copywriting. Anytime you go to a website, all the words that you see there are written by a copywriter or somebody who is in that position. Could be the business owner themselves. Any email that you get from a business owner, that's going to be written by a copywriter. All of that is copywriting. And so I got trained in that, and I quickly decided I like this. I decided that I liked it a lot more than I liked doing the research. And so I kind of dove into it. The owner of the company hired a copywriting mentor for me and my one of my coworkers who was there. And I decided to, even after that training period was up with her, I contacted her on my own and ended up paying for one of her courses, which taught me how to do email copywriting. And to this day, I still work with her. She and I work together on different projects, and it's just been such a blessing. So it's amazing for me to see how God has taken a desire to help provide for my family, and He's put me in places and brought me, just into the positions that I needed to learn things that would take me from one level to the next. The job that I had with that supplement company was both a blessing and a curse, I guess you can say. I ended up really miserable there. They did not know how to treat the people that worked for them. I always thought that I did so much for the company that I thought I'm going to be so valuable, they're never going to want to lose me. But the truth of the matter was, in June and July of 2021, what ended up happening was I found out that, I did a huge chunk of the work for the entire company. But I guess because I'm American, they felt like they paid me too much. So they decided that they were going to get rid of me. And actually, I got that email on the last day of May of 2021. I ended up fighting for myself, and they kept me on for about another month. They were going to transition me from head of research to the lead copywriter, and we were supposed to re-examine that role in 6 months, but it ended up, that was the last day of May. It ended up it was either June 14th or June 15th that I was actually, the very next day, I was going to turn in my resignation letter. I already had it written. And the day before, I was going to turn it in on a Friday. And that Thursday, I got an email saying your services are no longer needed. They ended up paying out both weeks of paid vacation to me. And then they had initially wanted me to work for 2 weeks to give them a chance to bring somebody else in, but they ended up actually paying out an additional 2 weeks and said that I didn't have to stick around. I never had any issues with like my work. There were never any complaints about that. I always got rave reviews. I got along with everybody in the company. To a large extent, I actually knew more about the process than their project managers did, and the new people they had brought on. The only problem was they felt like they paid me too much. And this was a multi-million-dollar company. So to this day, I don't understand. They got rid of some of their best people because they felt like we were too expensive. One of their best graphic designers, their other researcher, they lost. All these really amazing people they lost in an effort to be cheap. But what that ended up doing was it spurred me to create my own business. And within 1 month, I had replaced the income that I made with them on my own, working half the amount of time. So I was no longer working 30 to 40 hours a week. I was working somewhere between 15 and 20. And so that was amazing, because I had actually been told at one point that that they did not think that I was a high enough level copywriter. And I kind of found this out by accident. They had me watch a recording of a call that they had that I was not initially on, where one of the owners of the company said that that her copywriters weren't high level enough. And so I kind of took great pride in the fact that when I went out on my own, I was able to replace my income so quickly. And it was actually 2 or 3 months after leaving on my own that I had a client who said, do you happen to have any lower level copywriters on your team? Because, what you do is incredible, but, we're just, we're fine with somebody who's a little less experienced. So that was funny. On one hand, I had somebody who thought that I wasn't high level enough. And then my own paying client, she's asking, if I have anybody more entry level that can help her. So anyway, that's kind of the long story of how I got to the point where I am now. In the next video, what I want to share with you is kind of where I went from last summer until now. So that kind of catches you up the last 14 or 15 years. But I'll end this video here and just let you know that the next one, if you're interested more in finding out what I've been up to and like where the next chapter of my life is going, that said, this has been all professional, what I've been speaking about. But what this has done for me in my life is it has enabled me to take more of a look at myself and examine who I am and where I want to be. And this has gone from just helping pay my family's bills to, all right, Amber, who do you want to be and how do you want to feel? And it's caused me to look more into things like my hormones and my stress levels and how to manage all of this stuff. And I'm really excited about where it's going because it's opening up new doors for me and helping me to really heal my body and my mind on a level that I was never able to previously do. So if you're interested in finding out more about where this is going and you don't mind me sitting here at my desk recording this on my webcam, please stick around. And I would love to continue this story with you in the next video. Take care. God bless. Bye.